I wanted to show a little bit about pressing, and I use this wool mat from Woolly Wonder, and this one is the small one. It does come in several different sizes. The reason I like to use it is the wool actually makes pressing a dream because it sends the heat back up. So like these, I've made a bunch of little triangles, and I'm giving an example of pressing to the dark side. So it's hard probably to tell in a video just how nice and crisp the wool works on it. It's very, very hard, but yet sending the heat back up to where you have a nice pressed seam on both sides. And I know there's a lot of, everyone loves to either do open or shut. I still tend to be old school and press all my seams to the dark side, unless there's a reason why a pattern asks for you to press it open. I've asked lots of machine quilters what they like, and they actually like it pressed to the dark side because it gives them something as they're quilting to butt up against and kind of bounce back from their designs. Or maybe I'm just lazy and like to pressing to the dark side is a lot quicker process. So that's a little handy little travel iron, and this is nice to keep right next to your sewing machine and then just press away. This is an example of some of my pieces once I've started sewing them together, and now I'm going to start having a lot of bulk in this area, so this would be to where I would come in and press my seams open. So this is a raised bar that's covered with the wool, and it just lets you get your seam up off of something flat and goes around the edges here, and just start it and run your iron down the length of the seam. The little travel iron's a little bumpier on the seams, but then you have a nice flat seam allowance there. So then I would continue to join these together with my seams. Since they're pressed in one direction or another, I can use those to butt up against and make sure that they all line up, and then come back and press my seams open. So I have an example of one of the quilt blocks that I've already done. I'm going to leave that there, but this is a firecracker star, and you can see on the back where all the seams I've pressed still to the dark side, but then when I started joining them into rows, I went ahead and took the time and pressed open, and then that also makes none of the dark fabric shadow through to the light fabric because it has such a high contrast. And then here I have one little seam still ready to press open, so I was going to show you this bar comes in two different lengths. This is the shorter length, but if you're pressing open longer pieces, then you can also use that longer bar. And once you just use your finger and or like I pull on this and it helps kind of already pop it open. Again, the travel iron's probably not the best to actually do this with. It gets kind of hung up on some of the seams, but start with my fingers, open that up, pull, and it helps to pop it open a little bit, and just press along the side. So you're really getting your concentration of heat right there at the seam. Your fabrics from both sides drop down to the sides. And usually when you press your seam allowances open, how it's easy to catch the fabric and start pushing it the opposite direction. That's why the height of the bar works nicely as well. So just a perfect flat pressed open seam, and then the block lays nice and flat where you need it to, but then it also, you don't have the shadowing through of the dark fabrics to the light fabrics. Bye.